And here we go.
All right, welcome back to Reds Country Radio. It is April 4th. The Reds have a winning record at 4-2. And if you didn't know it, you wouldn't know that by going on Twitter. But the Reds fans are having a tough time with a great start. But hey, we'll get into it. I'm Donnie. We got Steve here. We got Rob. Boys, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster for a 4-2 start. But I'm feeling pretty good about it. Some good, some bad. Steve, how you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good too, to be honest. It's not every day that you go in and take 2 out of 3 in Philly. Only the best teams in baseball, the Atlanta Braves and your Cincinnati Reds, have done that so far this season. So I'm feeling pretty positive about it. I know we like to stay positive on our show, but Rob, man, I understand people were upset because the 2 losses we had, they were pretty upsetting losses and what happened in them. So it sparked a lot of reactions, but only through 6 games, only lost twice. I feel pretty good about that. How about you?
Yeah, I'm very pleased so far with the effort that our Redlegs have put forward through these first 6 games of the season. I'm not going to complain too much about Game 2 and Game, I believe 5, the 2 losses. Game 2 they should have had in the bag, but that's baseball. But yeah, overall, really pleased considering I was really impressed with the series in Philadelphia. Bad weather, adversity in our faces, and they pulled out a gutsy performance in the first game and the third game, and considering what the record has been in the past at Philadelphia, very pleased to see them take 2 or 3 from the fighting Phils.
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, I think they set our record we had only won twice there in the past 5 tries or something. We were
something like that.
Since the building was built, we're 20 games under 500 there. So yeah, not great.
Yeah, it's funny. We say it every year, but especially early. But some people just aren't built for 162. The overreactions we saw early in the season, pretty incredible. The best teams, we talk about this every year. The best teams still lose 60 plus games sometimes. That's a lot of baseball games to lose. Some of them are going to be kind of fluky. Sometimes you're just going to get beat. Sometimes Bryce Harper's going to hit 3 home runs and nothing else matters. You take it for what it is. The team's not trying to, Elly's not out there trying to make 3 errors. And I don't think he's nervous, things like that. We can get into all that. But I think his team's playing really well. To be 4-2 and with one of your losses being a game you probably should have won, I'll take it.
Yeah, definitely. And I do want to talk about that one because I feel like those concerns we had from that game are kind of gone now just after what we've seen during this Philly series. But Donnie, where should we start? Where should we go?
How about opening day? Just why not, right? Right from the jump. So I was out of town. Steve, of course, lives out of town. I was in Austin, Texas for my brother's bachelor party. We all watched the game together. Rob, did you go down?
Yes, I was at the game. Stood out in right field. That was cool. It was me, my buddy Jacob, and my buddy Logan. Shout out to those 2, and Logan's buddy Borgs. So shout out to those 3 gentlemen. The standing room only tickets that we had, so we stood out in right field underneath the Budweiser awning. Struck up a conversation with a gentleman and his son. He'd put $100 bet down on Nick Martini to hit the first home run of the season, and that bet hit, and he bought everybody in that area a free beer. So that was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
But yeah, had a good time standing out there. Went down to the Banks. The Banks was the most crowded I'd ever seen it in my few years of going down there. Overall, just a great atmosphere, great time. The crowd went nuts when Martini hit the second home run. The crowd went nuts when Elly got the stolen base. It was a great day to be a Reds fan and a great day just to be down there at the ballpark. A great day to be an American, guys.
I love it.
Hell yeah. That's the boots on the ground report we needed. Thank you, Rob. I love that.
You're welcome.
It was the first time I missed it in a while. So I'll be going down to the ballpark this Sunday. Looking forward to it. Hoping the weather's a little nicer. We'll see. But it's good to see people out early. Last year it took us winning to get people there, and now I think that's perhaps why we're seeing so much overreaction online. Expectations are as high as they've been in a decade for this team, and there's good and bad that comes with that.
Yeah, and I think the simple fact too is that even if you're a college basketball fan in town, the Reds play 4 times the games that your college basketball team might play at the maximum. They just play that just in a regular season. And
Right.
like, I know obviously there's a lot of football fans that are watching too. So glad to have you all on board. And then, I think just the fact that there's not a hockey or, basketball team in town. People are not used to the length of a 82 game season. I'm not saying that people don't follow those sports. I mean, Rob, our guy's a diehard Blue Jackets fan, still watching. And I just wonder if there's some people who understand what a 17 game football season is like, a 30 game college basketball season, but don't understand we're going to play 156 more games. Like, we can't have overreactions in damn April, man. Like, come on now. Like, we haven't even made it through one full football game, like the equivalent.
Yeah, I had people texting my other Reds group chat on Sunday, and so game 3, like during game 3, saying like it's an absolute travesty that CES is in the 3-hole, and like David Bell should be fired for not already having moved him out of it. After 2 full games essentially, and a third that's like 7-8 at bats. Like, can we pump the brakes a little bit? He went 0 for his first 12, I think it was, and then hit an absolute moon blast home run, and then I think he hit 2 hits in his next 2 at bats after that in the following game. He's going to be just fine. And people love overreacting, and they love blaming everything on the manager. It's almost kind of funny. I can just kind of sit back and have a little bit of perspective and just know these people are overreacting. But CES was one where, all that said, I was really glad to see him get his big homer there. They won another 1-run win on Sunday, and the Reds are probably gonna have many of those this year, like they did last year. It's good that the Nationals aren't a great team, but I'm glad they were challenged right away. The Phillies, of course, are good. So. Frankie Montas looked great in opening day and in this last game. Sorry, I'm bouncing all over the place, but where should we go next, boys?
Should we start with Frankie Montas?
Yeah,
what a revelation he's been so far through 11 and 2/3 inning. Only has allowed 1 earned run.
Yeah, that's impressive. He's got some nasty stuff, and he seems healthy. I think that was the big thing for him. I like what I see, and sure, we had the argument before the season about whether he deserved opening day versus Hunter. I'm good with it, and Hunter's going to get the ball back in Cincinnati tomorrow, probably today as you're listening. So I think it all worked out.
Well, here's the other thing too. We are not the most stats-oriented people. Obviously, we're more kind of like vibes guys, I'd say. I don't want to speak for you gentlemen too much, but in my opinion, I feel like we're a vibes group here. The vibes from him pitching are just good. I just enjoy, seeing the 47. He's kind of got like a Sal Romano vibe, big Sally back in the day, just rocking the 47, able to do a nice K strut off the mound. But the other thing too is that he's got a different kind of demeanor on the mound. He's like, I enjoy like Sims and Antone, I like guys that are screaming on the mound, excited, but he's kind of got like a silent confidence about him, Frankie. And by the way, for everybody who's interested, the pronunciation, I went back and listened to his post-game press conference from opening day. Moan toss. So, like a groan moan, and then you're tossing a baseball. So moan toss.
All right, I'm going to get that. Moan toss.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Because our friends at the Chatterbox Red show, they've just said Frankie. They're not even trying with the
they were juggling his last name quite a bit.
So, shout out to them. Hey, they put our tweet up on their stream the other night. So shout out to them.
Awesome.
But,
I also noticed that, Steve, they called us, and this one belongs to the Reds, because that's kind of what it just looks like if you don't click into the bio.
Yeah, that's true. I think
I wonder who owns that account, just straight up ATBBTTR.
In true Twitter fashion, it's a guy who's owned it since 2012, but has tweeted 3 times. So I was kind of hoping that somebody would clear those accounts out, because I've been eyeing that account with just my last name on it for ever since I got a Twitter account, and it's never been available. But dude has never tweeted and got his account in 2009. So
didn't Elon promise to kick all those people off Twitter?
Elon said a lot of things. So I don't know.
He get rid of the bots too. And did you see one of our recent posts had 8 of them?
Yes, I did see that.
Bots love Elly, man. I don't know what to tell you.
I went through and reported all of them, and I don't know if it'll help, but
Yeah.
Funny.
Send him straight to Elon.
Yeah, the internet's a crazy place.
It is.
Okay.
But anyway, I've really enjoyed what Frankie Montas has brought so far. And I was listening to the radio broadcast a little bit last night too. And Cowboy, I really like listening to his thoughts on pitching. And he mentioned that it's nice to have a guy like Frankie Montas in the rotation just to give those guys another veteran voice. And I like the two older guys that we have in our rotation because, Hunter, Abbott, and Ashcraft, three younger guys still in their second, third years, still, figuring this whole pitching thing out. And you've got a pitch design nerd in Nick Martinez, who, took courses from Driveline while he was pitching in Korea. And you've got Frankie Montas, who, has been really good before. He was, Rob, you'll have to correct me on this, but wasn't he like top 5 in Cy Young voting in 2019? Like he was, when he was with the A's, he was pretty dang good.
Yeah, he was lethal with the A's. I believe he was in the top 5 in the AL Cy Young that year.
Yeah. So I really like what Cowboy had to say is just like having another veteran voice to teach your young guys how to pitch and how to go out there every 5th day. He's bringing it off the field and on the field. I really love what he's brought to the team so far.
Very, very valuable what he's brought. I believe through 11 2/3 inning, he's only allowed 1 earned run, what I said earlier. The dude absolutely shoved on Wednesday night. Up until like the last 2 batters he faced, he kind of lost his command and lost the juice a little bit. Maybe blame the weather on that. Who knows? But overall, very, very pleased from Frankie Montas.
Yeah. No, very happy with what we've seen so far. Hopefully he can be consistent. That's one thing with the young guys is you get the best start you've ever seen, and then they get blown up the next outing. That's kind of what you just have to expect. But if he can be a consistent quality start guy every time out, hey, that sounds great to me.
Yeah.
We don't have to go game by game, but I do want to talk about the game we kind of blew right after that, game 2, against the Nats, where Diaz gave up 3 runs in the 9th. Again, I heard plenty of overreactions as well. Diaz is washed. Diaz is cooked. His velocity's down. He's going to get shelled all year. So let's dial in on that 9th inning and Alexis Diaz, who's looked better since. He pitched well last night, but his velocity still is down. He's sitting 92, 93 after previously he sat 96 or so his first year. What should we be worried? As long as he's kind of keeping hitters off balance, as long as he's still, all the breaking pitches aren't going to be, 93, and so that doesn't really matter. Should we be worried about the fastball velocity?
I really don't think so right now. I mean, if he's still pitching effectively and getting guys out, I wanted to kind of circle back to his last start of the spring he made against Cleveland, where he pitched like I think in the 6th or 7th inning against like mainly their minor league guys and got roughed up pretty badly, and then shows up gets his first start of the season, the Saturday, the 30th game against Washington, where he gave the 3 runs, and I was just all in my feels thinking that this is going to be a bad season for him. And his struggles are just carried over the regular season. And he has bounces back the first game against Philadelphia. Something as of right now, I'm not too concerned about it. If he can he's shown that he's turned it around these last 2 games he's pitched in. Just curious to see where it goes from there. Really now.
Don, in response to just the velocity. Another thing that the Cowboy mentioned while I was on listening to the show last night, to the radio broadcast last night, they mentioned that Zach Wheeler's velocity was down as well on his fastball, and it was more of a thought from Cowboy and from Welsh too on the TV broadcast. They both had mentioned that that's probably due to the cold weather, not being able to grip the ball in temperatures.
True.
I'm not on the ground in Cincinnati, so Rob, you tell me. Saturday, what was the temperature like? Was it like cold? Was it how was it?
Saturday, it was probably in the low 50s, I'd say. I actually wasn't in Cincinnati on Saturday. I was back up north, home for Easter. Opening day was beautiful. It was like mid 50s, sunny, perfect. But yeah, it's been chilly in Cincinnati these last few days for sure. And I believe Saturday was not an exception.
Again, I don't know much about pitching in the major leagues from personal experience, but I can just tell you from being cold and sitting in those crowds that having a consistently like go up and out into those games is tough. And we know his problems with walking guys. I mean, it's just a rite of passage for every Alexis Diaz appearance. He's just going to either walk one guy or allow one guy to get on base. But I mean, most recent outing, Wednesday night, he only gives up the hit. He doesn't allow a walk. I was most impressed with, and again, we don't have to go over every game, but being able to come out of the bullpen and get 5 outs and go back out for the 9th against the Phillies on Monday night. I think that's something where you had wanted him to do that before, and he's not been able to give that to you. So for him to show that, was pretty impressive, because the Reds also kind of were down a couple pitchers, and it showed because they weren't able to throw Sims in the 10th. They had to use Antone in the 10th. So still a good length outing for him too.
That was the other thing. I learned that everyone hates Tejay Antone on the internet. He's been like our best reliever when he's healthy for like the last 4 seasons, besides the one he missed. I don't know. Maybe it's because I was watching too much college basketball during spring training, but I miss where everyone turned on him. That's crazy. I know he kind of barely made the roster, which maybe that's part of it. Man, Tejay Antone, I'll ride for him until his arm falls off.
Yeah, no doubt. We're kind of a Tejay Antone stan account anyways. And, everything he's been through to get to where he is now has been nothing short of remarkable. And him stepping into that big situation on Monday night and getting Bryce Harper to strike out for the last out, that was pretty sick.
Yeah.
Man, maybe that makes me a normie because I'm not looking at all the advanced stats and the stuff plus metrics. But if Tejay Antone is on the mound, I'm confident. I feel like that's one of our better. That's a high leverage guy to me. I don't know.
So to just to give a little extra context, just looking at his Fangraphs page, his pitch values are a little bit down from previous years, and the broadcast has been pretty vocal about how he has been on a journey to teach himself how to be a pitcher and not just overpowering guys with either stuff or with just extra velo. So that is definitely a possibility, right? Like, if you've done something your whole life one way and you're trying to reteach yourself how to do it, it can be hard. And, we saw he was missing the zone a lot on some of those breaking pitches. He was able to get Bryce Harper to swing right through a fastball, which is, still pretty good. His velo, I want to check real quick. It's about the same right now for all of his pitches as it was in 23. He's down from 21 and 2020. His highest velo on his fastball was 97 in 21, and now he's down to 94. So it's not reasonable to immediately just say, oh yeah, he's done, like ship him out. I think people just enjoy what Tony Santillan was doing in spring training, and to Santillan's credit, he's been really good. It looks like he's kind of been reborn a little bit. I don't think he's given up a run in AAA, and he was really solid in spring training as well. But that's the great thing about depth, baby. We got him, and he's ready to come up whenever. And it's inevitable now that a reliever will get hurt at some point in the season.
Of course, that's and I think I've seen enough interviews with Tejay Antone and whatnot where I think he's a really smart guy. I think he thinks a lot about baseball in a very intellectual way, and if he can't throw 99 on the black and just overpower guys anymore, like as he gets older, I think he's a smart enough guy to figure that out, and like he's going to change his game, and I think that'll be interesting to watch. His metrics might go down, and he might just figure out different ways to get guys out, and I think that's pretty cool too. So I'm not worried about him.
I don't know if you saw his. There was an article in The Athletic today. It was interviewing Antone, and basically he was talking about. He had a really cool quote that I found interesting. Was like, if you're driving a car and you hammer down, you're going to run out of gas quicker. But if you drive your car like slower and more consistently, you'll get more, fuel mileage out of it. And he was like comparing that to pitching. So he's fine with the fact that he can't throw 100 miles an hour anymore, but he's counter that by saying, me not throwing 100 miles an hour anymore probably saves my arm now.
Yeah.
Especially after 2 Tommy Johns.
When we learned even just within one season, rather than your entire career, we learned last year you got to make sure you can get your bullpen to the finish line. Especially if we're going to be competing. That's probably a lot of the reason that we didn't make the playoffs last year is our bullpen was just completely gassed from top to bottom. And I know they made a big emphasis on getting the starting pitchers more innings. We haven't really seen that yet, but that's because it's early in the season. The guys are still getting stretched out. But overall, I think they're thinking about how to manage the bullpen. I think all the pitchers are being smart about it. And so hearing that too is that gives me a little confidence. So, and while we're just to put a bow on the national series, that comeback on Sunday, on Easter Sunday, I'm at Easter dinner. I was like checking the box score basically, and I saw it was we're down 2 outs. Didn't think anything of it, and I basically was just watching the game cast for India's at bat, and I was like, 3-2, 2 outs, bottom of the ninth, we're down, no runners on, it's pretty much over, right? And he just kept fouling balls off. I was wondering if my game cast was broken. It was just foul ball after foul ball. What an incredible at bat! I've since watched the clip back, and I think after he got a double there. I pulled up I said, screw it, I'm going to be rude and turn on the game right now in the middle of, we hadn't actually sat down to dinner yet, but everyone was kind of just mingling. And I just pulled out my phone and watched the last 2 at-bats, a couple home runs from Benson and CES, like we mentioned earlier. That was a great moment. So I don't know if you guys also had the experience of sneaking away from Easter dinner to watch that, but wow, what an at-bat from John India. I think that's where it all comes back to.
Yeah, he looked so just in control that entire at bat. He just had a different demeanor about him. I could tell through my television set. That was just, they were down on the ropes. They were down to their final strike. India full count, comes up clutch, hits a good double to left field, and then Beeman comes up. I think he sees when Beeman comes up, sees 2 pitches, and sends a second pitch actually into the Reds bullpen. And then Sess walks it off the first pitch he sees. It was such an incredible and improbable comeback. And that was the first Rally Reds we had, the first hashtag Rally Reds we had of the year. And hopefully that's just more of what's in store this year. And, if the Reds keep pulling games out like this and the very, very end of games, it's going to be very, very interesting to watch.
And I was able to pick up the very nitpick stat that I got kind of went a little micro viral on Monday, and I haven't updated it for the week, but I'm still going to say it right now. Will Benson, since the start of the 2023 season, leads all hitters in Major League Baseball with 6 ninth-inning home runs. Pretty impressive to do it in clutch time, and to hit him the way he does. I mean, he talked with Joey Votto last year, and kind of like a vintage Votto location for those home runs. They're ending up in left center field, all the way out there. That's one of the deepest parts of the park, and they're consistently landing in the Reds bullpen. The one at Chase is the most surprising one to me, because I think we all know by now that Will's got some pop, but still, to get it out in center field at Chase, you got to land it on one of the home run porches out there, and he blasted that ball. That was an absolute bomb. So I'm just, can we talk about him for a sec, Don? I think we're derailing, but
you know me, I'll talk Will Benson all day. I've been so impressed by him this year. His approach to the plate has been great. I know the Phillies for the strikeouts, but I think overall he's got a great approach. He had for a little while he had 100% hard hit rate. Literally every time he was hitting the ball, it was 95 miles an hour or more. That's insane. No one, obviously small sample size, but he can put the bat on the ball. Man, he is so much fun to watch play. And I've been impressed with him so far. I love that he advocated for himself. I think they said this on the broadcast. He advocated to play against lefties. He wants to prove that he can hit against lefties, and he's gotten some hits. He's shown that he deserves to play every day.
And not to mention, he's played a pretty solid center field when asked as well. I know he missed robbing that home run in the National Series, but I feel like he kind of made up for it with a nice sliding, diving catch in the Phillies game they lost. Kind of took a weird, loopy route to the ball, it seemed like. But if you're 6'5", it can run like a deer. I guess you can take whatever route to the ball you want.
That's a good point.
Hey, no doubt.
I'm looking at his baseball reference right now, and like you said, Don, he's got 1 hit so far. Nice 733 OPS against lefties out of 6 plate appearances. So we'll see. Keep adding to that. But already 0.1 FWAR on or a BWAR on Baseball Reference. So I'd say that's pretty good for six games into the season. But so here's what I wanted to talk about too with Benson. A lot of our Reds, we call them something different in the chat, but I'll just say friends on Twitter. They continue to compare Benson to Castellanos, and while I am all for some good Reds propaganda, like I'm just like the softy now, but I don't really think you need to tear down Castellanos to build up Will Benson. Like Castellanos is not having like the greatest start to the year, but I've really just enjoyed watching Will Benson and see what he's doing. And I also like watching Nick Castellanos play. I mean, they're two like kind of different players, hit from different sides of the plate. Castellanos had to move into out the outfield because he started at third base. Will Benson's been there the whole time. And, you know, you asked this question a year ago, and obviously everyone's taking Castellanos. That's how things change in a year. But like, I think maybe I'm just more focused on like enjoying watching Will Benson play. I like he's just been such a revelation for this team. I think, you know, we were kind of expecting Jake Fraley to have the pop last year when we were previewing this team. We didn't really think Will Benson was going to be that guy to provide that spark. And I think right now he's like my favorite player to watch. Other than it's him and Steer for me. Like those two, I love to watch them hit.
Hey, and all three of those names you just mentioned there, Steer, Benson, and Fraley, absolutely not going to cover off the ball to start the season. Why you got those Baseball Reference pages up? Steer and Fraley both batting over 400 to start the year. Steer with the one big grand slam to go ahead in the 10th against the Phillies, and Fraley doesn't have a homer yet, but he's got a couple doubles. He's been consistently getting hits, only one strikeout. I love that he's healthy and he's getting a chance to play every day. Both those guys have been incredible. Steer, I think, is quickly becoming, I think about, he reminds me of John India in the way he carries himself and like the way he's a young guy, but I think he still is probably a leader in the clubhouse, just if I had to guess, the way I hear him talk about the team. Really fun to watch all those guys play.
I don't have any stats. I don't have any stats to back this up, but do you think Steer is probably the best hitter on this team with 2 strikes?
I don't know. I'd have to look. I'm kind of interested in that now.
Yeah, I don't. It just seems like he always gets a hit with 2.
There's somebody on the team that gets a ton of 2-strike hits. I want to figure out if maybe we can find that out on Fangraphs or something. I don't have the stats to back that up. I'm just putting that out in the universe. Yeah, no, for sure. Another guy I feel like it started pretty well is Stuart Fairchild. Hasn't quite gotten to play every day, but maybe a little more than he would have expected, and he's gotten definitely a few hits where he could, and gotten a couple steals. Bubba Thompson, should we place bets on when he'll get his first at bat, and how many steals he'll have by the time he gets his first? Say, kind of funny looking at his stat line: 3 runs, 3 steals, 4 games played, and not even any plate appearances.
Hey, if we could have had Billy Hamilton in that role, I think everybody would have loved that. Like, obviously, unfortunately, Billy Hamilton could not do it as much at the plate. But you know what? I bet Bubba gets a start this weekend against the Mets. I know we've been only running like 2 lineups out there, which I like, by the way. I think, you know, you probably want to keep some consistency even with this young group, because I listened to the Talking Baseball podcast. Trevor Plouffe has talked about how guys prefer to just know where they're going to hit every day in the lineup. And to Dave Isbell's credit, he's kind of kept 5 or 6 of the same guys. I don't have it in front of me, but most of the same guys in the lineup, and then just platoon out in and out different guys, and slide Steer down to follow Elly in the lineup against righties. So, by the way,
I think that's pretty interesting. I mean, this is Bell's. Sorry, Steve. This is Bell's like 6th season, and he's certainly got a differently made up team than in the past. But I feel like usually his approach, and a lot of managers' approach for the month of April, is just to throw a bunch of lineups out there and kind of figure out what sticks, change it every night. He's done that even when everyone's healthy. And I like the consistency. If the players like it, I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah. I looked up that stat. It is Spencer Steer who has 6 2-strike hits in 6 games so far.
Wow.
CES
It felt
has
good. It felt good. When I said it, it felt good. From games that I've watched this year, it just seems like every time he's up with 2 strikes, he
Yeah.
gets a hit.
Hey, you got a great baseball mind, Rob. Rob knows
Thank you.
ball.
I try sometimes. Thank you.
hashtag Rob knows ball.
Rob
Shout
knows
out.
ball.
But I just really like watching Steer play. He's just I probably went a little bit too far on Monday night because I was excited and I kept making a bunch of butt jokes about him. But I don't know. I enjoy watching him, and that trade with the Twins. I will praise the Twins front office for generations for that.
Wow, what a trade.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, poor Twins.
I know it was tough, but hey, thank you. That's all I have to say. Just thank
We
you.
essentially got, because we got Steer and CES directly from that, and then the other pitcher we got, we swapped in for Will Benson, right?
Yeah.
We essentially got those 3 guys for half a season of
Tyler Mary.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah. Love it.
Big
Big fan.
It's just
The fair trade.
balls.
Ooh, sorry, I had a video playing. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I think that kind of covers any game stuff. Well, we do have to talk one more thing. Elly De La Cruz, he's going back to last season, not hitting the cover off the ball as far as power, but he's getting on base. He's tried bunting a little bit, which I think is interesting. Some people hate that. Some people think your top prospect with power should not ever be bunting. But if he gets on base and steals the next 2 bags, he's on third. Hey, sweet, great, do it. Where everyone is really having a problem is his fielding. He committed 3 errors the other night. He hasn't looked maybe as elite as we'd want out there. I don't know. Where do we go from here? What are our thoughts on his fielding? Is it an overreaction, or is it something we should be concerned about?
I think the bad game he had against Philadelphia, I think that's 100% an overreaction. I believe it was Nick Kirby I saw on Twitter. He tweeted out a game in like 1988 where Barry Larkin had 3 errors. And obviously, Lark's career worked out the way it did and ended up in Cooperstown. I 100% think it's an overreaction. He's a young guy. He's cutting his teeth in Major League Baseball instead of AAA. So there's going to be some growing pains associated with him, especially the rest of this season. People also forget that he hit a hard hit double at his last at bat that game, and he now has, dating back to last year, an 11-game hitting streak. That kind of gets lost in the weeds with his fielding woes. But yeah, I think it's just a bad game. It was rainy. It was cold. The elements were less than ideal, obviously. I give him a pass for that. It is what it is there.
Yeah. I mean, see, I kind of see both points. Like, those plays probably should be made. And, Ellie's a professional,
Yep.
and he should definitely be able to make those plays. I'm not absolving him of that, but I'm trying to look more of it from an understanding point of view. Is like, dude's 22. He's trying to figure it out. He's got all this hitting stuff on his mind. He just learned English. Like, just signed a big deal with Jordan Brand. Like, there's probably a lot of pressure on him right now.
Oh, yeah.
He feels it himself. I don't know how much he looks at social media. Like, well, I guess I do kind of know because I have his like story notifications on, and he posts a lot of stories. So,
Nice.
But anyway, I kind of just, I wonder if I were to break out the responses of people and have like people's true age next to their response, I'm sure the younger people would skew more towards like, he's a young kid, he makes mistakes. And the older people, no offense, are kind of skewing more towards sit him, bench him. He deserves like to go down to AAA and stuff. And from the profile pictures, I feel kind of vindicated in that take. But you shouldn't be benching your star at his lowest confidence point. I feel like that just absolutely kills any momentum. And look what he did in the Wednesday night game. He, no errors from what I can remember, and had that big double to drive in Fraley and get an insurance run.
Yeah, I shared Mo Egger's tweet in the group chat about I'm really glad that Elly didn't get benched or sent down or sent to prison or whatever it was Twitter wanted them to do with him. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Dude, is this what it's going to be like to have a fan base that's bought in right from the first game and like has super high expectations? Like, I don't know that I can handle
I think
this.
so.
If I was like a a fan of a club that's always in the mix there. Like that's tough, man. It's a hard life out there. No wonder people don't like playing in New York and whatever else.
I saw Fire Rob Thompson tweets. I looked up his name just because I wasn't exactly sure what he had done wrong. I just heard his name in the Chatterbox Reds post-game show. So I went and looked up his name as like Fire Rob Thompson. Man, I can't deal with another year of this. I was like, you guys were in the NLCS last year. Come on, man.
People have a problem with every manager, every bullpen, everything.
No
one's happy.
Yeah.
People aren't happy.
And it's always as we know on social media, it's the voices that are the most upset, like are the loudest, So,
right.
But I think we all agree. Yeah, that's right. I mean, loves company. I even listened to what Marty said, and I was kind of more expecting Marty to be on the side of they should bench him, they should tell him what's what. I liked what Marty said. Marty's like, he's a young guy, he's figuring it out. It's still like he still hasn't played a full 162 in the majors, and my only thought to add to that, and I want to hear what your guys' take is. If you have Candelario and you have Martini and you have some older guys in that clubhouse, like a good clubhouse will tell him like, hey, like, you just got to like work, like just throw the ball to second next time. You don't want to give extra base runners, give extra outs to that team so that they can hit home runs and really extend the game. And a good self-policing clubhouse will have that fixed.
No doubt. I thought a guy like Indy would step up there and say something to him as well.
Yeah, from everything I've heard about this clubhouse and how close the team is, that's not something I'd worry about. I think they're gonna figure it out, and that's a lot of what fans don't remember too. Is you only see what happens on the field, and a lot of the things that we're probably complaining about, they're probably addressing. They're gonna get it figured out. So.
From what I've read and from what I understand, it doesn't really seem like a very cliquey clubhouse either. It seems like everybody's pulling on the rope in the same direction, and seems like something's going to get corrected very quickly and very easily.
Speaking of Candelario, though, he came out of the game the other night, seemed to have some sort of discomfort with I think it was his elbow.
His elbow.
I don't know that we've heard any kind of definitive on if he's actually hurt or if he's going to be fine, but we can't really lose him. Our infield is a little shaky as it is as far as depth. I'll be interested to see if he does go on the IL, who they would bring up. I saw Mike Ford's name thrown around. Hopefully there's nothing more really to discuss there, but Steve, go ahead.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about the contingency plan, and my thought is that you probably would either move Elly to third and play, or move CES to third and put Martini in the lineup as at first base, or in the field at first base. Obviously, like if you lose Candelario, you probably lose a little bit on defense there with Cess. Like, by the way, I liked what you said, Don. Let's call him Cess. Like CES is a little bit long, so let's just call him Cess. I like Cess, but
you guys just now figuring that out, Cess.
Well, I don't know. Like it's a C, it's not an S. It sounds like SES.
I've been calling him Cess since last year, guys.
I'm sorry, Rob. I didn't see.
All right.
I didn't see the light.
Because I saw you guys like put that in the group chat. I'm like, you guys just now figuring that out? What? I'm not trying to like dunk on you guys or anything, but like I just like maybe scratch my head. Sorry.
You no, you posterized me. I deserved it. So I was standing in the paint, and you came through. So
with a Cess bomb. With a Cess bomb.
But yeah, would you agree with that though, guys? Like, I mean, if you move over Cess to third, you play Martini at first, you probably want to keep Elly and India in the middle of the infield.
Sure.
Middle of the infield. Who's been? I'm sorry.
Play Steer at third.
Yeah, you can play Steer at third as well. And then
either that, so putting Steer at third, or what you just said probably gets Fairchild more at bats either way. So I'm happy with that.
Or you can put Steer at first too.
I was gonna say you put Steer at DH even and then shove Fairchild into the outfield if you want to go kind of defense first.
Yeah, I like that defensive mind.
There's a lot of options, even with the injuries we do have. There's still a lot of depth and guys that can move around. The adaptability of guys like Steer and India, I think, is a huge bonus that this team has. And like we said, we needed a hot start. We needed to play well even while these guys are out. And man, if we're over 500 in the month of April, considering the guys we're going to be getting back on both the pitching staff and the position players, it seems to be hard to beat.
Yeah, definitely agree. Again, I don't want to think about it either, but I think it's just at least they've got the contingency, and I'm sure they have it too. Maybe he gets another off day to just figure it out tomorrow, and they, like you said, slide Steer over there, or and let Fairchild go in the outfield in Steer's place. I do like that defensive lineup. I think that will definitely be something we see as we go down the stretch. I don't know if Bubba Thompson will be here in August, but I feel pretty confident about Stuart Fairchild making it through the year. So I like that ability to have that defensive backup.
No doubt. No doubt.
Last thing, let's look ahead to the next week's game or so.
I'm going to go ahead and present the screen here. Ooh. We're using a new system, so I'm getting to go ahead and do some fancy stuff. So you guys can see my screen. You can see here we've got the Mets this upcoming weekend, and then a 4-game set against the Brewers early on in the season.
Yeah, that's tough. That Brewers series will be very important, of course. The Mets, did they end up getting no hit today?
They came back and won today.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Pete Alonso home run and Tyrone Taylor walked it off later on.
And that's after they played 2 today, right? So the first game was like 11 innings or something.
Yes.
And then an emotional comeback win. They're going to be – their pitching staff is shot. I'm glad they did get their win, and that was their first win of the season.
Yeah, I agree.
So hey, you could get swept by the Reds, and that's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So hey.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think once you're playing a team like this, I didn't really think the Nationals were going to be that bad. Apparently, Reds Twitter thinks they're going to be awful. Like they played above their win total last year, so I kind of figured they would do the same thing this year. And they've got some young guys that are coming. And the Mets, I don't feel the same way about. They've got some good young talent, but I watched them against the Brewers, and Brewers just played their Brewers game. They went up by 3 and then just brought the bullpen in, and it was over after that. And I'm not excited to be playing the Brewers next week, but I imagine we'll probably get Peralta. I haven't looked at like any of the rotation stuff just yet, but I'm interested to see who we get in this series. And I think, guys, tell me if I'm way off base here, but you probably want to at least try and split that because tiebreaker comes into effect when you're playing these games, and just for the moral standpoint of you kind of got your tails kicked by these guys last year, and you at least want to show some fight early on in the season.
Yeah, so Steve, to kind of answer your question, I have the schedule pulled up on ESPN's website. They have the probable pitching matchups. The first game on the 8th is Ashcraft versus Eunice. Tuesday, April 9th, Montas versus Ross. Wednesday, April 10th, Green versus Peralta. Thursday, April 11th, Martinez versus Hall. So there you go, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we'll see. I think the Green versus Peralta is going to be an interesting one. You kind of got to jump on Freddie Peralta early because he kind of grows into the game. And if you don't score a couple runs on him within the first couple innings, you're not likely to score a run. But I feel pretty good about our offense, honestly. Like, but I feel like we were able to get to Zach Wheeler on Wednesday night, even with the elements. That was pretty impressive to me that we were able to get to him. Got to Josiah Gray. Didn't have as much success with Patrick Corbin, but you got young guys and they're going to be figuring out. But I was pretty impressed with how the offense responded to Zach Wheeler, because I have a lot of respect for Zach Wheeler. I think he's one
of the best pitchers in baseball. Yeah.
I still wish the Reds had been able to sign him when they were going after him a few years ago. But man, that would have been nice. But sure. I was impressed with what we did.
No doubt. Hey, it's going to be a fun month. I'm excited. I'll be there Sunday, like I said. Rob, you said you were maybe going down this weekend?
Yeah, I will be at the game on Saturday. I'm planning on going to the game on Saturday at least. Nice. And then, fun fact, I will be in Dayton on Friday for Dragons opening day. Rhett Lauder is pitching, getting the opening day nod for the Dayton Dragons, so I will be there as well.
Love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited for my first trip to the ballpark this year. First of many, I hope. And hey, I think we're gonna. The Mets have already been canceled by our friend KFC Barstool, and hey, let's just drive them into the ground. Let's sweep a series, go in and take 2 or 3 from the Brewers, and prove to everyone that we belong. I still can't believe that there's so many pundits out there that didn't even pick us to sneak into the playoffs as a wild card, and I still think we're the favorite to win the division. So this week has only proven that to me more. So
They kind of looking ahead as well after the series with the Brewers. They have some real opportunity to make some serious hay because they have 3 with the White Sox, 3 with the Mariners, and 3 with the Angels. We all know how bad the Sox are right now. Seattle has started slow, and the Angels are, well, they're the Angels. So
Yeah,
Shohei-less Angels. Yeah.
Angels at home too. So, hey, they swept the Marlins. You know, Marlins are 0. Well, I don't know if I didn't see if they won today, but they were 0-7 going into today's game against the Cardinals. So, stiff competition for the Angels.
Yeah.
But then we got the Phillies after that too, and then go see the Rangers. So, I'm pretty impressed with what at least the start. And I thought the schedule was going to be a little bit harder, but seeing how the first week is broken for some of these teams, like you said, Rob, the White Sox, they don't even put out a first base coach the other day.
they're horrible.
Yeah, they are not very good. I think the bad teams are going to be bad at least early enough. So if you can just build up some early wins while you can, I'm not going to apologize for it.
Yeah, especially they have a good chance to make up some ground, especially how tough May is shaping up to be. I'm looking ahead into May right now, and it is an absolute just gauntlet of kind of the who's who of baseball right now.
Yeah,
and
let's get the wins now.
Yeah, get them now. Stack them up, fellas. It's a good opportunity to stack them.
All right, boys. Hey, this has been a fun start to the year, and as much as everyone's gonna love complaining, hey, maybe that's just we're Reds fans. We're a big market team now.
That's right.
That's just what happens. People are gonna complain because they want to win every single game, and they expect to win every single game. And in a way, that's a good thing. So I'm excited. Rob, enjoy your game on Saturday. I'll be there on Sunday. Steve, cheers on from afar. Can't wait to talk to you boys in a couple weeks.
Sounds good, boys. Go Red Legs.
Go Red Legs.
Go Reds, baby.